Welcome to Christian Statesman. I'm your host, Zach Wagner, and this is episode 83, Boxes. As an individual associated with a major university, I have adequate opportunity to interact with the young upcoming generation. In our last episode, we discussed some fruits of cultural Marxism. Today, we address perhaps the largest and most insidious effect of this political movement, and this does indeed afflict the current generation, a true pandemic of thought. And that is the replacement of critical analysis and creative thought with ideological thought. Ideologies can be twisted and molded into whatever version of truth the perpetrators of such ideologies choose. If it is based on truth, the ideology will stand the test of time. If it is based on the evil ambitions of men disguised as a fake truth, it will eventually fall apart. One of the cornerstones of non-critical ideological thought as we understand it today is the whole intersectionality spectrum. This ideological stance seeks to divide people into classes of race, gender, or socioeconomic privilege, assigning a degree of importance to them based on these criteria. This, of course, flies right in the face of Christ's greatest commandment, love thy neighbor as thyself. This would twist that ethic into a love thy neighbor if he meets certain ethnocentric criteria and despise your neighbor who does not. What this ideology does is divide people into classes. It places them in boxes based on race, gender, social class, political leanings, and labels these boxes good or bad, depending on how the box supports the prevailing attempt at ideological correctness. This is an age-old game and a most dangerous one. Seeking to divide people according to their differences has been the gambit of the power elite since the dawn of time. But we are so much more sophisticated at it today, particularly in an age full of information, mass media, and other things that will perpetuate the false stereotypes. The fact is, no matter your race, culture, wealth, or gender, we have far more points in common as fellow human beings than we will ever have differences. In Christ's parable of the Good Samaritan, he uses a fine example of the pointlessness of stereotypes. When the traveler in the parable is attacked and left at the side of the road, it is the Samaritan, one who in the intersectionality of that time was regarded as the lowest forbidden class, who shows the mercy and neighborliness to the victim. The parable teaches a profound and timeless lesson. We are all each other's neighbors in every sense of the word. The world is full of people trying to make sense of a narrative that creates increasingly divisive and confusing boxes to place each other in. If we allow these boxes to define our perception of reality, we stand to eventually lose our humanity. I am a lifelong student of World War II. The Holocaust in Germany illustrates just how far the application of boxes can go. The Jews in Germany were placed initially in an unpopular box. They were blamed for much of the economic trouble in Europe. The box got deeper, and their culture was then labeled as something antithetical to proper, productive, and polite society. Then they were dehumanized completely, with the unholy term Untermensch, or subhuman, being applied to them. Then the camps showed up, then the ovens, and the rest is one of the darkest stains on world history we have ever known. Is there really any difference between the boxes then and the boxes now? What is the fundamental difference between the Nazi term Untermensch and Hillary Clinton's oft-repeated label of deplorables? What is really at play when sitting U.S. congressmen declare that anyone who voted for Donald Trump is a racist and white supremacist? When anyone questions the veracity of a suspicious election or marches in Washington, D.C. in protest, is labeled by those same box makers as a terrorist. These are boxes that seek once again to apply a subhuman label to a class of very genuine human beings. Like so many of my young students today, will we allow ourselves to be swayed by these obviously false and detrimental ideologies? Or will we put on our thinking caps and see our way through the deception? I hereby declare anyone who promotes an intersectional ideology, who seeks to divide ordinary people and place them in boxes with labels of their own design, forwarded good or bad, to be a liar and a deceiver. I care not if they sit in the hallowed halls of Congress, walk the arena of major sports, appear larger than life on a movie screen, or sit at the desk of a media corporation. We are all in this world together, placed by God Himself as His children. We have much better and higher causes to give to each other than the low and base intersectional lies and division our purported leadership offers us. If we will just step back and think it through, such lies and deceptions can have absolutely no power over us. Free your mind. Thank you for being with us. Please subscribe, and as always, tell your friends. Have a blessed